Oh, yeah, right. Okay, I'll tell you, man. That's just something I like to say. But welcome to the GMAP Broadcast Network. We are the number one faith-based, motivational, and inspirational broadcast platform in the country. And of course, as promised, we are here live and in color with one of our featured authors. And of course, have the current publication that I'm showing you on the television screen, Suicide Note. And of course, we want you to be a blessing and show your love, care, concern, and support. So, with no further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes, please welcome my friend and my brother, Mr. Matthew Daniels, to our broadcast. Man, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome, ecstatic. Any word that you would like to use, I'm in high spirits. And thanks for having me on. Hello to the audience. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. I look forward to having a good interview, a good show.
Oh my goodness, man. Well, you know what? We always hear people thank us. But let me tell you, we thank you. We thank you for taking time out to be here with us today. And of course, let me say that if you don't know, now you know, Matthew is one of our featured authors on the GMAP Broadcast Network, GMAP1.com. We are encouraging you, just stop by our platform, click on the tab or the tab that says featured authors. You will receive an opportunity to see the current book cover. And of course, when you click on that book cover, it's going to take you to the necessary location to find out more information and intimate details about the author as well as the publication. Now, with no further ado, man, why don't you do me a favor, man? Introduce yourself, man. Tell us who you are. Tell us where you're from. Who is Matthew Daniels?
Okay, sure thing. And I appreciate those things. I'm a regular guy, born and raised in Texas City, Texas. I'm not sure where the majority of your listeners are from. I'm from a small town called Texas City, Texas. Most people outside of Texas are familiar with Houston. It's one of the most major cities in America. I'm about 45 minutes outside of Houston. Okay, I'm a loving husband, loving father, and I am an author, which is why I'm on this broadcast here today. And I'm just a regular guy, just like you, regular guy, just like you,
You know
trying to
what?
turn a hobby into a career.
Hey, you know what? You ain't trying to do anything, man. You are already there.
There you go.
I don't accept that. I don't accept when people tell me, trying is like using the word I'm finna. Finna.
Yeah,
If you got finna in your vocabulary, talk to me later. Tell me when you get there. Don't
yeah.
finna do anything. Don't finna be a broadcaster. I'm finna be an author. You are already there, and I'm going to encourage you, man, to keep that in mind. You are a blessing to millions of people around the world. And of course, Suicide Note, man. You know what? If you don't mind, the Root Foundation, tell us about it, man. What is Suicide Note? How did it come about, man? Tell us about it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna be as brief as possible. Long story short, I was like a lot of individuals here in America, a lot of African Americans, unfortunately. In my younger years, I was disillusioned. I was disillusioned with things that I saw on TV. I was disillusioned with things that I heard on the radio, and I was disillusioned by things that I read in literature. I was convinced, I was convinced in my mind that in order to be a man, in order to have success, in order to be somebody who was respected, I had to involve myself in criminal activity, into the street life, and I was sucked into the gang culture. Okay. And so what I realized was that what these people are telling us, what they're telling the youth with these movies like Scarface, with these books, with these rap songs, what they're telling the youth is a lie. They want you to believe that if you want to excel in life, then there is a way to get where you are going by going through the streets. And I found out that there is only a couple of ways out of the street life. You're either going to go to prison or you're going to go to the grave. And I was unlucky, yet lucky enough to go to prison instead of going to the grave. And what I wanted to do with Suicide Note, anybody who gets it, you can read the synopsis on Amazon if you click on the link. And when you read the introduction, you're going to see something that's very, very important. What I'm trying to express with Suicide Note is the idea that the majority of stories, 99.999% of the stories of the little boys and little girls who get involved in gang and street culture do not become Scarface. They do not make $1 million. They do not come out on the other end unscathed. And so what I wanted to do with Suicide Note was to write a story that was so vivid, so graphic, so raw, so true to the reality of the streets that the majority of people don't want to tell you about, that you would see in your mind that this is not the lifestyle that you want to have. So in Suicide Note, we follow the journey of a young man named AB. He was born in a city called Dickinson, Texas, which is ironically only about 15 minutes up the street from my hometown. And he has the mentality that I had as a 15, 16, 7-year-old young man. And he believes that he can hustle his way to $1 million. He can rob his way to being a business owner. And he can gang bang his way into becoming a respected member of society. And the things that he goes through, the things that he sees, the things that he experiences is what people see, experience, and go through in the streets that they do not want to tell you about.
My goodness. Man, oh boy, I tell you what, on fire, have the passion. That is what I love to see and hear, because the bottom line is you have to have it in order to really provide and produce a quality product that we know. Now, see, people need to understand that we don't just put information, publications, and authors like that. We don't just put that out there. We put things out there that has meaning, that has a purpose, that can provide quality information for all of our viewers and listeners around the world. And the bottom line is this: I have never, and I repeat, I have never witnessed a U-Haul truck follow behind a hearse. I have never witnessed a U-Haul truck follow behind a hearse. So don't get it twisted. It is necessary to leave legacy, but your legacy should be an encouraging, motivational, and inspirational legacy that you can provide for your children. Now, of course, I know that there are going to be individuals out there watching. We are a role model to somebody, Matthew, whether we like it or not. And there's somebody watching your journey and your every step right now. What words of encouragement would you have to share with somebody that's paying attention and watching your steps?
What I would want to tell them is I'm of the belief that every individual that is born into this world, God has a purpose for that individual. Now, your purpose may not be my purpose may not be your purpose, but there is going to be something inside of your heart, something inside of your mind, something that you can't get around even if you want to try. And it is that thing that you were brought into this world with that you are going to be able to use to positively impact the world and move the world forward. Mine was reading and writing. I always had a love of reading. I always had a love of writing. But it was until I learned how to use that talent to better not only myself, but to better the condition of those around me. And like you just said, to provide an impactful message, right? A message that can be taken by someone who is coming up behind me to help them, one, avoid pitfalls that I fell into, but also to improve their lives. And so that's one thing that I try to do with any book that I write. There is always going to be an underlying message that I want your spirit, that I want your soul to grab hold of. And with Suicide Note, yes, it's a book. So with the book, You have to have the plot twist. I have that. You have to have the romance. You have to have the entertainment. You have to have the action. You have to have the setting of the book that will draw an individual in. And once you draw that individual in, what they will see when they read through the book is what I'm expressing, is what I told you in the beginning. People will not tell you that 99.9% of the people who get off of the journey that they were born on end up destroying their own lives. And so what is better to do is better to follow that voice in your heart, follow that voice in your head, follow that drive that you were born with. And once you follow that with a pure heart, trying to do what's right, everything else will begin to fall into place. Once I decided to use my knowledge, because I'm a very smart individual, I had no business going against the teachings of my mother and father. But once I decided to use that to empower myself and to empower others, I was able to begin to create stories that will not only draw in you, the listener, but it will also draw in the individuals who were where I once was. And I will be able, through the story, show them a message of how when you go against what was placed in you by the God that put you on this earth, when you go against that, you will always fail. And when you follow that, when you follow that, when you chase that dream, when you chase that goal, when you never give up, when you always press forward, you will be successful. And so even with me being able to write a book, I feel blessed to be able to have a testimony. Not many people can say that they did things in their lives to end up in prison. And while in prison, they were able to write a book centered around hope and redemption for one's past misdeeds. And now I will be on a radio station, on a radio network, I apologize, on the network with someone such as yourself talking about this same book and how it has affected my life, the lives of my children, my wife, and the lives of those around me. I just want my life to be an example of what you can accomplish if you follow that small voice that was in you from your birth.
My goodness. Well, I'm going to piggyback off of that, and of course, say in order to do that, number one, you have to have experience in doing that. Mm-hmm. You have to have the testimony to share with other people around the world. And if you don't have the testimony, if you don't have the test, you can't have the testimony. And as a matter of fact, you can't even spell testimony without spelling test first. So you got to have a testimony, and in order to express the passion, the experience, the trials and tribulations, you have to have nobody can tell me about drugs if they never had any, if they never taken any. Nobody can tell me about prison if you've never been there. I mean, been there. So I always tell people I can relate to certain things, and I can only relate to certain things if I've experienced certain things. I can't relate to certain things. You tell me, hey man, I lost my mother yesterday. I can only tell you, man, I feel for you. I'm praying for you. I hope that you can overcome it, because I can't tell you based on my experience, because my mother is still here. So I can't tell you about drugs. You know what? That's just like a person telling you how to fix your marriage, and he got divorced. Come on, man. Come on. Don't get me started. I'll get fired up over here, and I don't mind. You don't tell me how to fix my marriage, and you divorced. Come on, there's something wrong with that. So with that being said, man, I got to ask you, man, those same individuals that you are a role model to, and they're watching your every step, and they can appreciate saying to you, hey, man, I know what you've been through. I appreciate you sharing your testimony and your experiences and where you've been and where you are. But what's next for author Matthew Daniels? What would your response be to that?
Well, I'm gonna take a page from what you said earlier. Yes, it's what's next, but it's also what's right now. Because not only am I'm an author, and not only am I building my career as an author, but I'm also very, very active in my community. So some of the things that I have going on is I try to mentor young men, young women, young men more specifically in my area who may not have a positive role model to listen to, and like you said, someone to listen to that they actually believe what they're saying because they've been the places that they're telling them that they don't want to go. So the major thing about my life right now is just my community activism work. You know, I like to volunteer. I volunteer at back to school drives. I volunteer for the Juneteenth festivals. I help campaign for different politicians. I show people how to get out there and register to vote. I'm well known by my local police department. I'm well known by the local city officials. One thing that I'm currently working on right now, and this goes into what's next, is improving the area that I live in. You know, sometimes, and I believe that having the lofty, grandiose ideas of saving the world is great. If someone wants to save the world, I'll never tell them not to try. But I'm of the position that I can be a better service to myself and others if I focus on the area where I'm at. I don't have worldwide reach, but I can reach my community. So I'm involved right now in getting, we have a park, an African American cultural park here in my hometown. I'm in the process now of coming up with a plan with my city government to add on to that park, to make that park bigger. It's a memorial, so I would like to add more names of individuals in our community to the list of names at that memorial, to highlight their activities and their actions and their contributions, right? Because what people don't realize is human beings by nature, we mimic what we see. That's why whatever you put on the news, whatever you put in the media, whatever you put in books, whatever you put in songs, whatever you put in music, on movies, you see that play out because humans mimic what they see. If you have a child, you know this is correct. They learn how to talk because they see you talking. They learn how to walk because they see you walking. They mimic. So what I would like to do is not only highlight community activism in my area, but I also like to take time out of my day to honor those who came before me, who did the work of improving the community. Because when we make the community leaders, when we make the positive community leaders, when we hold them up and we highlight what they did and we show the reverence and the respect for their positive way of life, then there will be those who come behind them who will see that and they will want to emulate that. You see, it's all about giving them the opposite image, because they're going to be overwhelmed with seeing the drug dealer. They're going to be overwhelmed with seeing the gangbanger. They're going to be overwhelmed with hearing the stories of individuals telling them that the thug, the criminal, the gangbanger has the best life. And as long as they see them with the chains and they see them with money and they see them with women and they think that that's the way to go, the youth will imitate that. So we have to get to a point to where we feel comfortable supporting the individuals in our communities who are positive. So that's basically what's next for me. Amen. The way I changed my whole image, I'm trying to change the image of manhood in my area. I'm trying to change the image of success in my area. I'm trying to change the image of where a person may think that, if you're a nerd, then you should be bullied. If you read books, then you shouldn't have any friends. If you're a geek, you cannot be popular. And I want to change that image. And I want to show people that intelligence is better than criminality, right? It's okay to be smart. It's okay to read. It's okay to write, and you can be successful. I don't have to compromise my own morals, my own standards, and my own way of life in order to become successful. I can use my intelligence, I can use my brain, and I can use my good heart to be successful. And every time I knock off another goal, every time I reach a higher plateau, I'm able to look back to those who's coming up behind me and tell them, see, this works. You do not have to go that route. You can go the route that I'm showing you, because this road has not been paved in my area, and I feel like somewhat of a pioneer. So just changing the image of what success is a major motivation for me.
Amen. Well, I am grateful to hear you say that. And again, I'm going to emulate what I said earlier, the passion. You know, people take that passion and that drive and they go places with it. And I'm not going to interrupt you when that passion sets in. I'm not going to say, you know what? I'm not going to tell people I'm your guest. I'm going to let you do what's necessary in order to share and present this to people around the world. You mentioned starting in your own community. And I'm going to say this: I don't care how big you are, I don't care how much you've accomplished, I don't care how many people recognize you. It still starts with one person at a time. It still starts in your own backyard. It still starts in your own community. It still starts in your own city, and it will expand from there. I don't care. No one, and I mean absolutely no one, not even Jesus, started and he had a worldwide audience embracing him. So remember that. In the meantime, we are appreciative to you being, if you don't know, now you know. Of course, Matthew is one of our featured authors on the GMAP Broadcast Network. He'll be there for quite some time. You can stop by at any time, gmap1.com. Click on the tab that simply says Featured Authors. You'll see a copy of the publication that I'm currently showing you on the television screen. Click on that copy. It will take you to the necessary location to find out more intimate details and information about the author as well as the publication. We encourage you, show your love, care, concern, and support. We want to know in simple terms, what is it that they have to do? Our viewers, listeners, family, followers, and friends, what do they have to do right now in order to go out and get this publication, have it on their bookshelf, share it with their family and friends? What's the process if someone wanted to pick up this publication today?
Okay. Well, it's super, super simple, you guys. All you have to do is go to Amazon.com. You can do this on your phone. You can do this on your computer screen. Go to Amazon.com and type in Suicide Note by Matthew Daniels. Make sure you put in by Matthew Daniels, because it will bring my book up closer to the top. Because as you know, you can't really copyright a book title. So there are multiple books titled Suicide Note. So in order to make sure you get the one that we're showing you, type in Suicide Note by Matthew Daniels and it will come up. We have the paperback version available on Amazon, and we also have the ebook version available on Amazon. And now I want to tell you guys something. It's been such a wonderful role for me, because it's also, you can go to Walmart.com, type in Suicide Note by Matthew Daniels, and you can get the book. You can go to BarnesandNobles.com if you like shopping at Barnes and Nobles. You can go BarnesandNobles.com, type in Suicide Note by Matthew Daniels, and you can get the book. Now, a lot of people requested signed copies. So what I did, my wife has a website. Okay, my wife has a website, and I began to utilize her website to sell copies of my book, because if you buy it from the website, I can personally sign it and mail it off to you. That website is dandyandbigherm.com. That's DandyBigherm.com. DandyandBigHerm.com. You will see multiple things available for purchase on that website. But what I want you to do is scroll through the list of products, go down to Suicide Note by Matthew Daniels, and you can order the book there. And every book purchased from the website, I sign and I mail off. So you can go to Amazon.com and get the book. You can go to Walmart.com and get the book. You can go to BarnesandNobles.com and get the book. Or you can go to Dandy and Big Herm and get the book. We have ebook and paperback as well available.
And of course, we're not going to let anyone forget about little old GMAP Broadcast Network down here in the lower left-hand corner of everything in small print. But you do realize that most of the time, the small print on a piece of paper is the most important print on that paper. So, of course, we don't mind taking and handling that title of small print. And if and when you do go to Amazon, specifically Amazon, listen to the words of my mouth. Don't forget to leave a review. Leave a review. Leave a review. It's very important. The author will appreciate it. The Amazon will appreciate it. The public, the viewers, the readers, they'll appreciate it. Just leave a review. It only takes a few minutes to do that. Let the author know how you like it. Let him know that you purchased it. Let him encourage him to keep doing what he's doing in order to reach the people around the world. I know time is of the essence, and of course we are constantly doing what we can to be a blessing. But before we let you go, we want to find out, how is it that someone can connect with you? Give us that information if you don't mind.
Okay, easy. Everybody or almost everybody has a Facebook page these days. That will probably be the easiest and most direct way to contact me. I believe you should be able to see my name on the screen, Matthew Daniels. My regular Facebook page is my regular name, Matthew Daniels. I also have a Facebook fan page where I try to officiate the books that I sell and let people know what I'm doing in my career. And that Facebook page is called Everything Matthew Daniels. Everything Matthew Daniels. You can go like and follow that page right now. Go like and follow that page right now, and you can send me a message. You can comment on anything, and I always respond to all messages. Or you can find me on my regular Facebook page, Matthew Daniels. Send me a message. Send me a friend request. I'm very open. I love talking to people. I love answering questions, and I just love interacting with the people. I'm here to interact with the people.
Amen. Well, we appreciate that, and of course, we have given you all of the intimate information and details that's necessary in order to show your love, care, concern, and support for this young author. This publication is waiting on you to make that order and receive your copy. Of course, we want you to know, man, that we appreciate you being here with us on this afternoon. We appreciate you being a part of the GMAP Broadcast Network family, and we appreciate you allowing us to be a part of your journey. You know, that's a blessing in itself to everybody and all involved. And of course, we know that you have our number. We're going to be expecting and anticipating your call. If there's anything that we can do, we want you to touch that phone, call, text, chat, tweet, whatever you need to do to reach. All you have to do is pick up the phone, and we want you to know the answer will always be yes, and you will never have to ask us twice. We guarantee it. We love you for it. We appreciate you. We're going to continue to put this information out there into the eyes and ears of the people. If you just chimed in, or if you missed the conversation, you'll be able to catch it on our YouTube channel shortly. Also, it'll be pushed over to Facebook. And I'm going to call Matthew because I want this conversation to also be aired on our weekly Comcast cable program that goes into over 1 million homes. If you don't do it, I'm gonna hang up on him and I'm gonna delete him. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. But I tell you, we will have awesome opportunities and avenues for you to catch this conversation. We're gonna be inviting you back, man, because we want you to know that we think you should be able to break down each chapter in your publication. We think you should be able to break it down and share in a general sense what it's like in every form of that street life and how to overcome it. We appreciate you being here today. We look forward to hearing from you soon. I'll be reaching out to you shortly to tell you what's next. But until then, we want you to continue to be blessed and continue to be a blessing. God bless you, man. We love you, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, you have a good one, sir.
All right. I love it. I love it. And I love it.